Welcome to HullaBOWLoo 2021 Reimagine. Welcome to HullaBOWLoo Reimagine. Yes, I've so been looking forward to this. Yes, the first HullaBOWLoo online auction. I'm your host, James Howard, and I'll be with you each night of this fantastic event. Boy, I'm so excited. So we have got so much to share with you throughout the next 10 days. So make sure you check right here every night at 6 o'clock to learn more about the phenomenal work the Chattanooga Area Food Bank is doing to help solve hunger. This is what this is all about. Now, you will also learn how you can help. Let's get this show on the road, you want to, with our joke of the night. So, this is brought to you each evening from the staff at the Chattanooga Area Food Bank. Listen, these folks are amazing. For instance, meet Rodney McCullough. Rodney works with his team to make sure that the food that comes in through food drives and retail donations is put into over 1 million emergency food boxes distributed last year. Yeah, that, my friends, is no laughing matter. But let's hear what Rodney has for us this evening. Rodney?
What dance do pretzels like? The twist.
Okay, that's a good one, Rodney. That's a good one, Rodney. All right. But folks, seriously, food insecurity is no laughing matter. I'd like you to meet Billy. Billy is 7 years old, and this March, she set out with one mission in mind: to collect food for her neighbors in need.
Meet Billy. Billy is a 7-year-old who lives in the Chattanooga area. Although small in size, this first grader has a big heart. She decided to do something kind for those in her community every month in 2021, a year of caring. She has gathered personal items for women in need, made Valentine's cards for residents of 7 assisted living facilities, and is currently making arts and crafts for kids in the hospital. For the month of March, she gathered food. A lot of food. 348 pounds to be exact. She also received $130 in donations, which she proudly presented to the Chattanooga Area Food Bank when she came with her family for a tour. This amazing young woman helped provide 810 meals for those in need. People in need like Janet, who when she received her emergency food box, she broke into tears and shared with us that she only had 2 cans of food left in her pantry. We are so proud of Billy and others like her who volunteer their time to help people like Janet, who truly have to decide whether to eat or pay their bills. We could all learn a lesson from this young lady.
I thought it because, lots of people might need food. So during COVID, I saw lots of signs where people need food for money for food. So I thought I would help the Chattanooga Food Bank to give them food. I love the food bank, and please help out.
Oh, that just makes you feel warm and fuzzy inside. Billy, oh, I love your heart. Love your heart. Keep doing what you're doing. So we are grateful that the Chattanooga Area Food Bank is able to help folks like Janet when they need it most. Now, folks, you are in for a treat. Food banks across the nation were put in the front lines of the pandemic when hundreds of thousands of people found themselves choosing between paying for electricity or buying food. I'd like to introduce you to 2 ladies who know a lot about food banking. Now, let's take a listen to this conversation between the Chattanooga Area Food Bank's CEO, Melissa Blevins, and Megan Jones, who served as the CEO of the food bank from 2012 to 2015. Now, Megan is currently the president of the Community Foundation of Greater Chattanooga. Let's listen in as they discuss the past, the present, and future outlook for the food bank.
Well, Megan, thank you so much for taking time to meet with us today and come back to the food bank. You came to the food bank in 2012 as the new CEO.
That's right.
What were you so passionate about when you came on board?
I was really passionate about the potential, I think, to really address a critical need in our community. It's hard to imagine that so many people in our community are going to get hungry. I think one of the things that we worked on in those original years that were really powerful was changing the mission and setting a more aspirational mission that really inspired people about what was possible. So when I started, the mission of the food bank was to gather and share groceries with your neighbors, which is a really kind and wonderful thing. We should all be sharing with our neighbors. But it didn't really capture the full breadth of the food bank and what we were doing, and also the possibility, food banks serving 20 counties and millions of pounds of food a year, hundreds of thousands of people. It didn't really capture that. The other thing we were thinking about is nutrition. That was a shift, and you were a huge part of that with the produce, and really saying it wasn't enough just to feed people. How can we be feeding people better food so that they lived better lives, reduced disease rates like diabetes and hypertension?
Right.
And the result, as you know, was a mission that is to lead a network of partners, to really emphasize all these agency partners in the bank works with, to eliminate hunger and promote better nutrition. And so that, for me, was really exciting, and I think it inspired me, inspired the board, and donors and partners to really think aspirationally about what we could do.
Yeah, I think the two words that always resonate with me are partnerships and nutrition, and just seeing the transformation in those years of doubling our impact, setting a bold goal in 5 years to double our impact and doing it in 3, and not only just doing it in the food, but the nutritious value of the food. And I just always wonder and curious of looking back, did you think we were going to be able to do that quickly?
It's really funny. I didn't think that. But the other thing is, when we put nutrition in mission, I can remember feeling nervous about it. I thought about what was in the warehouse, and we had some nutritious food, but not as much as we'd like.
Right.
But I think in putting it in mission, it really pushed us to be aspirational and think bigger. And as you know, the result was we went from 500,000 pounds of produce in 3 years to 3 million pounds of produce. And so by putting it out there and saying we're going to commit to it, it really inspired a team and our donors and our partners to do that. That was just wonderful to be part of.
It was. I just remember the first time being in a mobile pantry and offering, potatoes and carrots and squash, and people would get teary-eyed and like, I haven't seen this type of fresh product before, and being so excited about the food bank. And I remember on the other side of that operationally of like, wow, how are we going to do this? And the community said yes. I mean, the community just stepped in and they helped us build coolers and buy these big refrigerated trucks, and it was just amazing.
People really responded. I'd love to hear what you're thinking. What are the issues now that have been the same or that have changed, particularly in the landscape of the pandemic?
Right. Well, I've been back about 6 months, which has been incredibly exciting. The food bank has stepped into a space of unknown and responded in ways that we couldn't have imagined. And I think one thing that always strikes me is the home delivery. This pandemic was an opportunity for us to redesign the partnerships in the community to be able to meet the needs of those that are most vulnerable with food, bringing it right to their doorstep. We wouldn't have imagined that before a pandemic.
Yeah.
And the community partnerships now have just been phenomenal to be able to set those up in place. So I think that's been really interesting. The other things that we're starting to see are just unconventional partnerships. We've worked with schools for years, and we've worked with a network of partner agencies that has grown. But those agencies have struggled and in many sense has put additional strain on the food bank. It's been really a challenge. We've realized that those on the front lines were the ones that closed their doors the quickest, just to protect their own volunteers and staff. So we've been able to respond quickly with a lot of more mobile pantries, moving out into communities where there's an identified unmet need, with just truck-to-trunk models,
That's fantastic.
which is great, and it kept our volunteers safe, it kept our staff safe, but we really miss the opportunity for clients to get access to the foods that they need most and have a little more of that client choice. So we're hoping someday after this pandemic we can get back to that.
You know, one of the things that I think, and you mentioned making sure to protect the staff, I think that makes the food bank so special, and I wasn't surprised to see the food bank rise to the occasion of providing for the community in the pandemic. The staff at the food bank is just incredible. It's one of the most dedicated teams, and I think there's a humility in leading a team, many of whom it's a calling for them. And I know that you are one of them, having been CEO when you were running the warehouse, and I wonder if you can reflect a little bit on what it means to you to lead this team.
You know, I say it every day, there's something magical within those four walls.
Yeah.
The team that shows up every day, they show up because they care. They come to the food bank not because they want a job. They come because they care about people going hungry, and I don't know. There's not the right words to describe what it means to be part of that team. But what I can say and what I've seen every day since I've stepped back in is this just unrelenting demand on the organization, the staff that continues to find ways to say, yes, we can, and yes, we will. You know, just this past week on a Saturday, 5 different locations in 5 different counties, our staff went out and made sure that we could get food into folks' trunk. And it was just incredible. And, you know, that's, again, it's magical. There's passion and so much energy around doing the right thing each and every time. The future is great for us. The pandemic has shown us what's possible. Well, you and I talk a lot about food insecurity and the fact that there's 42 million people across our country who are considered food insecure. And we know as being part of the Feeding America Network that there's enough food in this country that shouldn't happen, not to one person. You know, as we think out the next 5 to 10 years and think about why people are food insecure, what are your thoughts about the direction food bank's going?
Food bank's doing an amazing job, feed the line, making sure people have what they need, that it's nutritious food. But there is this shortening the line. And so really looking at coming upstream and saying, what is holding hunger in place? And that has to do with poverty. And so really thinking about how do we address root causes of poverty, which has to do with jobs and housing, and advocacy around those issues and improving the conditions for families and individuals in our community to get ahead and be able to have that income stability that they are no longer hungry. Also see the food bank more and more in these larger conversations around poverty in our community that food is a part of, but playing more of a role in looking at the bigger systems that are impacting low-income families.
So you think it's possible that no one should go hungry?
I do. I think it's possible. And I think in a community like Chattanooga that is inherently generous, we have a legacy of generosity, it's absolutely possible that we can address this issue.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. I think that it'd be remiss for either one of us in the roles that we play to not recognize the work that we do every day is only possible because of our community, because of our business partners, our donors, our volunteers, our school partners, our government partners. We are all together in this fight against hunger. And thank you again for taking time today to meet with us and talk all things food bank. You're one of the best leaders and friends that I know and have, and I can't wait to continue this journey together.
I'm delighted that you're there, and I'm really excited to see what's ahead for the food bank and our community.
Thank you.
Wow, that is powerful information. Thank you, ladies, for sharing such amazing insights, and thank you both for your leadership. Now, something that you all can look forward to each and every night of the HullaBOWLoo online auction is a prize drawing. I love when we give prizes. Now, each evening at the end of our short program, we will draw for a bar prize from all registered auction guests. Now, you don't have to be present to win, but you will need to come by the Chattanooga warehouse located off of Amlicala Highway to pick up your prize. Rodney, you did such a fabulous job telling us a joke. Would you do us the honor of drawing our first winner? Have you had fun tonight? Hey, join us tomorrow night, same place, same time. Log in at 6 o'clock for more HullaBOWLoo fun with the Chattanooga Area Food Bank. On behalf of the entire team, have a great night, everybody.